Hello everyone and welcome to the Red Path. I hope to God you can hear me. Dara, can you just say some noises for an audio check?
I'm going to say some noises for the good people.
Yeah. If you could let us know in chat if you can hear us both while I do the intro, because Dara is busy promoting the stream because I don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, hopefully you can hear us. Welcome to the Red Path on this day of days, the March Dataslate release, which we expected nothing and got stuff. So
weirdly got some honestly some pretty spicy stuff, I would say.
Actually, stuff to talk about. Thank you, chat. I see we've got Mark and Red Rum, Nick, Whiskey, Alex in the chat. Hello everyone, and thanks for being here as we get Dara's intelligent takes on the Dataslate and me just kind of, I don't know, pretending I know what's going on.
It's old school.
It is.
Baby. It's OG Red Path.
And for that, let's just make Dara gone. He's out. In fact, what I'll do, I'll just make you massive. There we go. You're now massive and I'm small. For anyone that doesn't know, I'm Jamie. I'm a member of the Red Path. I haven't been on a video. I've probably been on 2 videos in the last year. But yes, we are about to talk about the balanced Dataslate. But before that, it's very important. Dara, how are you doing, mate?
And I'm pretty good, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, I was went into today just being like, some memes will happen that I don't care about. And I've fully rewritten my tournament list, which I guess we'll talk about at some point. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Some solid A-tier meme changes in the Dataslate. Some good stuff, some bad stuff. So I don't know. I feel like this Dataslate was way spicier than I thought it was gonna be. Kind of, you could sense there was a weird bit of tension in the community. Late last week, a lot of creators kind of just I know TTT dropped on Monday. They put out a post on Instagram being oh, big news on Wednesday coming or whatever. So I think it's pretty cool, man. And I'm happy to kind of be able to sit down and chat. And it's honestly pretty cool to have the OG duo back on the Red Path in my
right. Yeah,
talking some muck.
It's special. It's good.
Why
for
am
the
I
community.
still giant as well?
Oh, all right, okay, I'll fix that because we're going to bring up the Dataslate in a minute. So let's put you back in your corner. Where you go. And yes, Mark, you may not know me, Mark of Khorne. I'm Jamie. Mark says, new stream, who dis? Come on, man. You know who this guy is right here. Okay, so, yes, thank you for asking how I am, Dara. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was just about to say, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I just will remind everyone, any long-time fans of the show who do remember the Jamie and Dara streams from yesteryear, every stream ever that I've been in charge of, because I actually had to do this one, I mess something up. There's normally audio problems or the stream just disconnects or something like that. But we started 10 minutes early and got most of that sorted. So
turns out pre-planning
is
an incredible idea.
Brian was screwing it up for us. Brian just decided to join the chat after I had all the Zoom visuals sorted out. So Brian's fired again. What am I drinking? We're not sponsored, but I'm drinking Diet Canada Dry. Oh, cool. It gets invisible. Ginger ale. I've got to take my daughter to work later, so I can't start drinking yet. Anyway, we should probably, Dara, talk about Warhammer 40,000.
We should.
The balanced Dataslate. I want to talk about
Trench Crusade, but
Trench Crusade. Why not? Okay.
Alrighty.
Brian is best. Alright, can someone moderate Brian out of the chat, please? He's fired. Okay, so, as you were just saying, we were kind of a lot of content creators have been sort of wondering what's going on. We need some changes. And in our background chats, the sort of the Red Path chat, we've been we're going to get nothing. Basically, we kind of half expected 10 points on the Mo, maybe Angron getting sort of 5 points extra or something.
I think a Foot Demon Prince nerf was the only thing that we were confident in.
We were very certain that the invuln aura would change to you get cover instead. But That didn't happen.
Nope.
It didn't happen. So
Did not.
let's start with the balanced data slate proper. I'll throw that up on the window now. Hey, it worked. Dara, it worked.
Nice. I'm proud of you, man.
Still got the old magic. Alright. So, really, the actual data slate itself, like the balance changes, there wasn't anything that I saw. Like the core rules changes. Did you notice anything, or am I just...
No, I don't think they've gone after the core rules. Like, it looks like it's all faction-specific stuff, namely top and bottom offenders,
Right.
which is not particularly surprising, I would say. Like, the game's in, like, a, competitively speaking, quite a healthy place, I would say, in general.
Yeah.
And it has been for, like, the bones of a year, you know? So, I wasn't, like, shocked to see, like, core rule changes. That would have been pretty wild, I think. I would have been really surprised if we got that.
Yeah. No changes to the World Eaters. We're not going to go over... We are going to talk about other factions briefly, probably nearer the end of the video, but we're going to definitely focus on World Eaters first, talk about some demons, because there's some big changes there, and then kind of like the bullies in the meta that we're, you know, if you're a competitive player, or, you know, even playing friendly games, you know, you've always got a local guard player who's always played guard, and, you know, even with friendly games, it's whatever the most oppressive thing is. So yeah, if you want to look at actual, like, minuscule changes, like sisters change to something I don't care about.
I have like a soft spot. No, I care. I have a soft spot for sisters. My buddy Jay, they play Penitent Host and been grinding it for the last few weeks, like getting back into the game. And they got some spicy changes, which I'm happy about. I think the Miracle Dice change, honestly, actually, I think the sisters boss did not go far enough, is what I'm going to say. I think they could have done a little bit more, but it's nice to see they got a little bit of power back. I think they're still going to massively struggle as a faction. But yeah, that's, you know, I'm out there for the girls. I hope they can push up again.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I do like sisters as well. I'm happy they exist, but I'm not going to waste my breath talking about them now. Okay, so let's... should we talk about points first? Because that's got to talk about.
Let's go straight to it, baby. Like, let's talk about the
Oh, look at that. It's straight on sisters. Don't care about you. All right, World Eaters. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to lead us off here, Dara, okay? Because this is, quite frankly, a travesty and probably the biggest change on the meta since the start of 8th edition, when the game fundamentally changed. You know, we got stratagems and command points and things like that. The World Eaters Predator Annihilator has gone up 5 points to 135. It's basically unplayable. I'm quitting the game. I'm quitting 40k. The red path is shut down. How can they do this to us? Only the true World Eaters players, those of us who've been here for years, knew the secret of running 3 triple Predator Annihilators with all las cannons, and now they've nerfed us. What's the point, man? Why do we play this game?
I think it's like, it's so funny that they were just like, and you know, I don't even really think there was a Chaos Army that was particularly exploiting Predators. Like, you could push an argument that maybe Death Guard were like getting good use out of it, which, like,
yeah,
okay,
good,
God forbid they have a unit that performs.
Yeah.
I think this is like so funny.
Blame Dom.
Honestly, my like tinfoil hat theory is they're like, if we raise the price on Predators, it's going to feel less bad for the cult players when we take them out of their codexes, because they'll be like, well, they were rubbish anyway, instead of saying, I use Predators in every list. But like, honestly, I don't think I've seen a World Eaters Predator Annihilator on the table in 10th edition, and they've gone up in points, which, like, hot damn. I don't think I've seen yours. I don't think I've seen yours on the table.
Yes, I've tried them a couple times, and been incredibly disappointed every time.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
Last Cannons just ain't it, bro.
No, I know. But look, yeah, all right. So it's a completely unnecessary change. The Destructor went up 10 points.
You know, actually, what it does do, now that I think about it, I wrote this list, which is called Goodbye Old Friends, preparing for losing a bunch of units from the World Leaders Codex, and it actually did have 6 Predators in it. And it was 2000 on the nose, so now I can't run that list anymore.
For fuck's sake! Josh Roberts, what the fuck, man?
That's weird.
Anyway, okay, so let's get into the real stuff. We have 3 impactful changes to our points. One very impactful, one pretty impactful. And then 1, yeah, maybe. I'm not there, but we'll see. So number 1, and this for me, we may differ here, Dara, but this for me is the big one. The first place positive change is the World Eater's Lord on Juggernaut, going down 20 points to a 80-point model. Before we go into that, do you prefer that change or the change to the footprints?
As much as I love the footprints, I prefer the Juggernaut Lord change because it opens up a lot more doors in a lot more builds.
Yes. I think the Juggernaut Lord was, one of our most untouched units until Vessels of Wrath came out with Grotmus, then became one of our, pretty much a favourite unit, trying lots of different combos, different enhancements on them, different ways to run them, maybe taking a second one just as like a little chaff clearing unit or whatever, action monkey. Our characters are all very expensive or not powered for what their cost should be. And we've talked about it before, Juggernaut Lord should have been 80 points the whole edition, quite frankly. There's an argument it should be more like 70 or 75, but at 80 points is definitely a very valuable piece. That 2-up, 4-up, 6 wounds, I believe, or is he 7? I can't remember.
He's 7.
7, right. Vessels of War is the optimal way to... Vessels of Wrath is the optimal way to bring him because you can give him the gateway, or you can make him AP 2, damage 3. Lots of really good sort of like ways to use him with Exalted 8 bound. That the impact models make a difference. Do you think the 20 points reduction is enough? For Berserker Warband. Is it enough for Berserker Warband?
I think so. Yeah, I do think so. I think at this level, I actually talked about it in the video review I did for the Goremongers, which is that new kill team.
Yeah.
We need a unit that's in that 80 point or 70 to 80 point window, which can be a unit that goes out and does those like early doors. I need to kill 5 scout bodies. I need to kill some guardsmen. I need to flip an objective. I need to do area denial. Just like a jobber unit, basically, right? That like Jackals don't feel it. Berserkers sort of do, but they don't feel great at 90 points. Now we have this like 80-point guy who walks around with a 2-up, 4-up. He's T6. He does some mortals, potentially. He's got like a fine combat profile, which is obviously better in VOW with certain enhancements and stuff. And I'm thinking about it from a VOW perspective because that's what I've been maining for a while. But whatever your opponent puts out in front of you in turn 1, this guy is the easiest Vessels target you've ever seen. You're just like, cool, solo Juggernaut Lord, go Vessels. You've got sustain now, run in there, kill some dudes. And I think in Berserker Horde, what it does is it opens up a very cheap backfield point scoring unit. It also opens up that early skirmishing unit. It's not a bad target for Favorite of Khorne again, which, you do have to consider it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're running those Angron intensive builds. But to be honest, I think the real power here is the fact that he's 80 points in Vessels, because in Vessels he's a keystone unit along with the Princes in a lot of builds anyway. And seeing those 2 units go down when I already found them to be quite powerful in Vessels was really surprising to me. And I think it's going to put Vessels in a very interesting place. I don't know, it definitely helps Berserker Horde less. But it's not bad, I don't think. Having an 80-point unit on this profile is just good. It doesn't matter what you say. And what I think it also does, which is really interesting, is for both detachments, is you can look at a Juggernaut Lord attached to 5 Berserkers now. It's 170 points.
Yeah.
That's not that expensive.
Was it you or Brian that brought up in the chat that's like... The 170 point is
it was Brian who said it. Yeah,
it's like a Chaos Lord with 5 Legionnaires or whatever. It's that sort of kill team, isn't it? It's that we're going to go and punch up something. It's
not the early game skirmisher.
Right.
It's like your mid game skirmisher, which is kind of like, I don't want to put 6 Exalted 8 band here. Putting 5 Zerks and a Jugglord there feels pretty good though.
Yeah.
And I started writing some lists this evening, which I haven't finished yet, but they start with 510 points put into 3 Jugglords and 3 5-man Berserker squads. And honestly, I'm like, that's a pretty cool foundation for some lists.
Yeah.
And I'll talk more about maybe lists in a little bit once we cover the other changes. But I think the Juggernaut is in such a good place right now.
Yeah, I think he's finally. I've only sort of started writing a list earlier based on these changes. But the Juggernaut Lord, I think he's now in Val. There were definitely Val lists that were running 2 and a Foot Demon Prince, and you've just saved 55 points, which with a little micro adjustment here, you're getting an extra squad of Jackals or a Spawn or something, or an additional couple of relics. However you want to do it, you're coming out on top somewhere. And I do agree for that mid game, he's below the Exalted 8-bound, above the Jackals or 5 Berserkers, with the Impact Mortals, grenades again, whether Berserkers or the Juggernaut Lord, the Overcharged Plasma Pistol, because you may as well, and then Impact Mortals, all the things. You can do a nice bit of damage, and it just opens up so much more, and yet it just doesn't feel as bad when he dies. He's going to die. He's tough, but he's not like an unkillable tough. So, all right, while we're talking about vessels, because I do feel that these changes impact vessels much more since it exists, because non-Gron, if you're running non-Gron, these really help you, and if you're running non-Gron, you're probably running vessels, or you should be competitively. Obviously casual, do what the fuck you want. But, so let's talk about the footprints now. Your favourite child. This is the most unexpected change to the footprints. Like we were memeing about, we expected
we're used
another
to changes on the footprints.
Just put him up 15 points, nerf the aura, nerf the stratagems that affect the aura, or like the rotate jackal shield sort of thing. They brought him down to 185, so that's 15 points. So yes, that's a nice little chunk of change. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, great. I mean, I think this is a much more suitable point bracket for him to be in. He always felt overcosted, either in Berserker Warband or in Vessels. It didn't really matter where you run him. If you do want to do non-Gron in Berserker Warband now, it's a lot more viable because the Helmet Prince is cheaper. Brian had a really spicy MSU style list that he posted in the chat earlier. I think Brian's going to do a separate video talking about his thoughts and stuff. So you might bring that up there. But yeah, I mean, like, when you think about, it's great, like Berserker Warband, it's cool, right? But I would say fundamentally the sort of staple list is still the RB2K for a standard competitive playhead that does good. That doesn't change from like this. You can tweak a couple of things if you feel like putting in a Juglord. I don't think it fundamentally changes that.
Right.
You could probably argue for a more MSU style Berserker Warband list now with these changes, which is true. But when you look at Vessels, and you look at a list that, as you said, had a double Juggerlord or a single Juggerlord and a Demon Prince, you're saving a lot of points straight off this change. And you have cheaper units with which you can do stuff with those points, which like fundamentally actually changed how I was kind of coming out my Vessels list. And opens it actually, do you know what this does? Is it really opens up the MSU playstyle for Vessel players, which was a little bit of a struggle before, but now, like I said, those Death Murder squads, which are running around with 5 Zerks and a Jugglord, sweet as. The Demon Prince, which has been, I suppose, a unit which people are hot and cold about because some people find great success with him, like myself. Other people can't really get their heads around him. One of probably the biggest things I saw when people were talking about him was that he felt bad at over 200 points. Now with Gateway, you're coming in at a much nicer point cost. It doesn't feel too bad. And I think the way that it changes Vessels lists, which we'll talk about it after the Wing Prince, is that Prince is going to become a lot more valuable on foot. But we'll get there. I think it's a great change. He's a really good model. And yeah, I'm super happy to see that he's finally come down in points, basically, is my outcome for this.
Yeah, I think I still think he's a bit too expensive. I still think he's 185 naked. Could lose another 20 points, and that might seem like aggressive, but I think at like that 160 to 70 point range, because the problem with the Prince is both of them, and this is pretty much across all Chaos CSM armies or legions, they just don't kill. All right, Emperor's Children ones are a bit different because and they're like the new build, right? So we remains to be seen what happens in our codex. Fingers crossed that the Demon Princes of Khorne become Demon Princes of Khorne that absolutely murder fuck everything in the way. Like, yeah. I want them to just cleave through. Like they... I can't remember, I want to say it was like beginning of 8th edition when Demon Princes of Khorne were like... They weren't like broken, but they were cracked. Like, they did what they were supposed to do. And we've just kind of undulated... We
fluctuated a lot. Yeah.
Sometimes good, sometimes...
I think there was a point after we got our codex in 9th where they were like straight fire, or maybe it was pre-codex, but in the CSM codex.
Right, yeah, probably. Well, because we had all the bonkers attachment
it's the output, man. The output just doesn't feel good. Yeah,
I've tried the wing... Well, let's move on to the wing prints, I guess.
This is actually the problem, because the footprints has a great ability, which is really good. It's 100 and whatever, 85 points, realistically 200, for a portable invuln save generator for your Exalted 8 pound, and a tough bastard to kill, because 2 up on T10, what a dude.
Yeah.
The output problem remains the same for both of these models. The problem is the Wing Prince has that issue, but doesn't bring anything to the table, except for a suicide pact at the start of the game, you know? And it's just not it.
It's not. Like, so the Wing Prince went down to 155, which is... cheaper than where I would even posit that the footprints should go, but 155 to do anything realistically, you've got to give him a relic, whether you give him gateways or Arch Slaughterer. Yeah. And I've tried both with the Wing Prince in vessels. Only a couple games each. Like, I haven't run a 3-month data analysis on him, but you could get a feeling when you put a Demon Prince of Khorne with rerolls, hits to wounds, and the Arch Slaughterer buff, and he's a vessel, so he's got the extra damage and extra AP, both of them, into a the Custodes Caladius tank. It's T10 or T11. I think it's T11.
I think it's T11. Yeah.
Either way, but you think in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm winning on 5s, but I'm still re-rolling. So I'm good, and end up doing like 3 damage. And then dying to the shoot in the next. It's like, okay, I should have done the math on that, but I was just hot to try it out, thinking, okay, he's finally got some punch. 4 damage. Sorry, he can do that damage and break through and just destabilize lines, because I rapid ingressed him in their back corner. And I was like, yeah, I'm a pro 40k player, and I'm using tactics, and here he comes. He makes the 3-inch charge. He's in and.
Nothing. I think the best way I can say to people who are getting a vibe about this, right? They're kind of feeling that creeping need to run a Wing Prince, because they're badass looking dudes.
Oh fuck.
Would you rather have, because they're the same point cost now, would you rather have 3 Exalted 8 bound or a Wing Prince?
3 Exalted.
I don't think there's ever a question about that, and that shows that even though he's dropped so much, you still just want these 3 dudes with their strength 15 hands.
I think for the Wing Prince, as he is right now, no matter what options you could give him, 130 points, right? The price of a Hellbrute. I would consider running a couple, because at 130 points...
He's a brawler.
Yeah, for the data sheet you get, not necessarily the output, but he's just going to go in and just ruin some people's days with, God, now I've got to commit something to kill this T9 model that isn't going to do much, but it's annoying. But north of 130, I'm going to find a way to bring an extra squad of 8 bound, or that's going to, it's going to be my inevitable Moe with the Glaive or Slaughterer, whatever it is.
There's better choices, basically.
Yeah,
I'm going to quote Mr. Brian Doherty.
Who's that?
Who earlier said, this fucker could be 120 points and I still wouldn't run him. I think that's kind of... And this guy just needs a unit data sheet rewrite.
Yes, he needs a rewrite, or if the Wing Prince swapped the rerolls for the Emperor's Children or CSM damage on the charge,
we're talking.
I still probably wouldn't run him at 155. But
I think I would. I think if I had Impact Mortals as well, and I think there's something to that. But
there's something
just right now, it's like he's this missile who has a rubber tip when he hits you, and it's just like, oh, okay, I guess. That didn't hurt.
So, I mean, essentially, if we, cherry pick our numbers here, and we want to go for like headlines, what is it like, audio bites, stuff like that. Ultimately, this is a net loss for the World Eaters. We had two nerfs, two good wins, and then just like essentially
Probably the worst nerf we've ever had.
No, like the Predators are just whatever. They're in red. Technically, they're nerfs. No one gives a fuck really. The Footprints and the Juggernaut Lord are wins because we actually have a roll from the Footprints. The Demon Prince with Wings is, whilst in green, actually a nerf because now someone's going to start bringing them to events, and it's a nerf that becomes a buff because that will bring our win rate down slightly, which hopefully isn't going to... Actually, it doesn't matter because it's not going to impact the codex whatsoever because that's already written. So, yeah, pointless. So, yeah, this is...
I think Josie's talking about experimenting with the wing prints, and I hope it goes well for her. I think that would be baller.
Is she experimenting how far she can throw it into a wall? I mean,
that could be the vibe.
Josie, I expect so much more from you. Come on. But
if anyone can do it, it would be cool. If anyone can do it,
yeah. I mean,
so I guess I'm gonna very briefly talk, and I'll probably do once I get reps in, I'm gonna talk about this more. But obviously, we did the Brosy 2K review a couple of weeks ago, which was reviewing the sort of competitive staple for Vessels of Wrath that we kind of came up with in the Patreon chat, which everyone who isn't already a member should totally sign up because you get to see our list cauldron, and the list cauldron is lots of fun because it's crazy. So check out the link in the description. But today, in that very chat, I was cooking hard, Jamie. And I looked at the Brosy 2K and I said, you know what? These changes are pretty sexy. What if I briefly ignored them and just took Khorne, 10 Berserkers, and the Rhino out of the list? Because then I'll just put in 6 Exalted 8-Band, and then I've got 18 Exalted 8-Band. And I was like, okay, sweet. Now if I pay attention to those buffs, what does that mean now? And I was like, I've actually got because the Brosy 2K dropped 35 points, which is not nothing. So I've got 18 Exalted 8-Band, and then I was like, you know what? I'll put in a Juggerlord here. So just slot in a Juggerlord, just naked. And then I was like, there's a couple of things you can do here. You can take out the 5 Berserkers and put in Spawn and get an enhancement on the Juggerlord, or you can keep them as is. And I was like, all of these things are fine. So I looked at it, and I was like, holy shit, this list is fire now. Because what you've got is you've got Invocatus, you've got a Juggerlord naked, right. You've got a Juggerlord with Arc Slaughterer, so 3 of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Okay. We're almost there.
Almost there.
Got the Demon Prince on foot. Cheaper now, but still hot. You've got 2 10-man Jackals. You've got potentially 5 Berserkers, or 2 Spawn if you want to take the enhancements, whatever. You've got 18 Exalted 8-Band, and then you've got 2 Brigands. And I think that list is absolutely fire.
Oh.
How does it feel, Jamie, to have 6 disposable Exalted 8-Band? That you can just throw in turn 1 and say, I don't care, I've got 12 more in the pipe, and they're all going to have a 4-up info. And that list is 2,000 points on the nose now.
Filthy little man.
I think it's disgusting.
Oh,
yeah.
You see, all right. I think I skimmed over. I saw the conversation. And I kind of seen you talking about 18 Exalted. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. Anyway, so when you was just reciting that, when you got to 18 Exalted, I thought that was the end.
No, there's still 2 Brigands.
And, okay, you throw the 2 Brigands at me. You know what, Dara? On my level of things I hate, it's not at the top of the list.
It's not the worst. It's not the worst thing I've
ever
done.
I think that actually sounds. I'll probably. I might try that tonight. I might see if I can.
I had you in mind because you know what I thought when I put it together. I was like, this is low enough model count that Jamie might just run this. I've cut out so much models, but you actually retain the same number count, unit count as the original Brosy list. So we're calling this the Da Brosy because I was like, it's still Brosy, but whatever. So I think it's cool because in my mind, the most basic game plan, which obviously varies, is turn 1, you just Vessels up 6 Exalted 8-Band and throw them into your opponent's line. And kill, I don't know, it doesn't even have to be anything important. It can be a screen. And you can just be like, Oh gosh, now you're gonna have to deal with the fact that these guys can blood surge into you.
Yeah.
While I still have 12 and a demon prince set up in a rune, and two brigands gunning you, and a Juggerlord running around, and another Juggerlord running around with Arc Slaughter, and Invocatus, and the Jackals in the back just doing their bits and pieces. It's just like it's all there for me. You can pressure hard, or if you want to play a slow game, you can just castle up in a rune with all the 8 band around the demon prince, just saying like, "Cool, what do you want to do?" you know. I think it's fun. It's what's really nice as well is you have like options now because you've got two Juglords in this list, one with
Yeah.
Arc and one not. That you can. It feels way better if you're like maybe I want to attach one or maybe I don't.
Right.
Because
Right.
you still have the other one to do jobs. I think it's fun. I'm going to be trying it out a lot over the next couple
I
of weeks.
I do like that.
Mm.
I'm proud of you.
I finally did it, guys. It only took me like I don't know how many years I've been on this channel, but I wrote a good list finally.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
An alien exalted 8 bands,
Yeah.
it's a vibe. Like
It's definitely a thing.
yeah. And you can modify that if there's like some people were saying like, oh, drop it to 15 exalted and get 3 units of spawn. There's tons of things you can do with this. So once I have more reps of that, I'm going to talk about it. And Brian's got some list cooking as well. So I don't know. I think it's cool. It's weird. It's small changes that actually fundamentally force you to go back to vessels as I did and say, all right, what are we doing here? How are we going to mess around with this?
I'm here for it, man.
And I think a lot of people were saying like, will the RB2K change? I don't think so. I think it's still
This
fine
didn't
what
really
it didn't
affect Berserker Warband.
Not so much.
The hour changes. But all right, let's go on here a bit. What do you want to talk about? Demons next? Khorne demons?
Okay,
Or
yeah.
demons overall.
Let's talk about Khorne demons first.
Okay.
Okay, so obviously this is going to be, I guess, a bit one of the more like controversial bits and pieces that's happened. Demons have like received a swathe of buffs. They've gotten some nerfs, and then they've had some fundamental changes to how they are as a faction. So the buffs are long, and there's a lot to go through. Nurgle demons got a lot of buffs.
Hold on. Where are we starting so I can get the page right?
Just pull up the index. I think is probably the best thing.
Yeah. I'm on the index. I just
cool.
yeah.
You can go to the data sheets.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
So
Rin,
yeah,
avert your eyes because I'm going to scroll. I don't want you to, the flashing or whatever.
basically a lot of demons got their data sheets reworked. Some of them got nerfed. Some of them got buffed. The Slanesh demons data sheets in the index are now identical to the ones in the Emperor's Children, which broadly are worse. A lot of their units got fight first, which is kind of fun. Except in Legions of Excess, I think you still lose that if you do the pact thing. And Legions of Excess, I'm not going to go into it. It got nerfed into the ground. It got nerfed hardcore, and obviously with guys like Shalaxi kind of becoming worse, it feels bad. And then we'll talk about the other thing in just a sec. But Nurgle demons, as far as I know, got a lot of buffs. The one that stood out to me was the Beasts of Nurgle now get like Scout, which is cool. Khorne demons got a bunch of changes too. Scarbrand can now advance and charge. A lot of the demons in Khorne got a 3-up armor save, including the Juggernauts, which is kind of cool.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Jug's got a 3-up armor. You know what else is fun, Jamie? I bet you missed this one. Bloodletters move 8 now.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my god.
Like, completely random.
They're still 110 points though, right?
Yeah, and their datasheet rule is no longer reroll wounds and objectives. Now it's like they basically force you to take a desperate escape test when you leave, which is different, I guess.
Yeah. Oh shit.
It's
okay.
a change. However, the Fleshhounds, glow up of the century.
Yeah, uppy downy, right?
Yeah, you want to read that rule if you can pull them up?
Yeah, okay, so
good.
Fleshhound. Hunters of the Warp. At the end of your opponent's turn, if this unit is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, you can remove it from the battlefield and place it into strategic reserves.
And because they're demons, they have deep strike built in. So
can you deep strike if you're in specifically? Okay,
Yeah.
I knew there was a weird
Strategic
FAQ. Okay, alright, that's what I wasn't sure about.
So that's a very powerful rule to have stapled onto their data sheet. And
75
I guess,
points?
I think they went
They went up
to
a bit.
75. Yeah, 75,
Yeah.
and I can't remember what 10 is, but it's a price.
Right.
So like that's cool. Scarbrand with built-in advance and charge is pretty cool. The problem is here that Karanak got put into Legends, which is wild. Like, why? So, okay. This is the thing. A lot of demon units got moved to Legends. no Zinch demons, no Nurgle demons got moved to Legends. So Epidemius, that old fat resin model, is still trucking around on his palanquin. Slanesh lost all their chariots, and we lost Karanak.
What?
Yeah, all the chariots are gone for Slanesh. They got moved. They've been they stopped producing them a while ago, basically. Which, look,
I don't care.
The chariots look sick, but everyone I know who has built one of those chariots said it's
like
one of the worst experience of their life.
Yeah, it's like the Stormy Fire Raptor or whatever, like one of the notorious models.
Because I think each blade on the chariot is an individual piece. Anyway, they're gone for some reason, which also really hurts Legion of Excess because they were very popular. Karanak going, I am confused about, because in the article that they published about the demons today, they said that they sent some models to Legends which are no longer in production. You can buy Karanak on GW, so he's still in production.
He's a new model. Well, like
he's like 4 years old.
Yeah,
came out in
but that's new-ish. It's new enough. Newer than Primaris.
The only logical explanation I have is that whoever was like doing this was going through the catalog, and for some reason the placeholder image that they have for Karanak in the catalog is like, the old one with the like 3 hits. Probably like looked it up and was like, oh, that model's not on the store anymore, we'll put him into Legends. Meanwhile, the new Karanak is just like in the corner being like, please don't shoot me. Look,
he's a good boy. You don't upset a good boy.
The other thing, right, which this one's kind of funny too, is they mentioned something in the article about updating the range to suit the narrative a little bit more. There was a Sisters book which came out late last year where Karanak got perma-killed. They found out like his true name or something, and they just killed him, and he's gone. So unless they were like, that's bad. If that's true, that's bad, right? Because Chaos is like the whipping boy of Black Library. So if they write in a permadeath for any of our characters, you think they're just gonna get sent Legends in the game now? Like, so they revisit the Armageddon story, and like Drago kills Angron again, and then Angron just gets sent to Legends.
I'm gonna solve this right now. Okay. Mandatory. Hey, join our Patreon. Support us. We'll give you great content like this. I don't give a fuck. We need to go right to it's like the grand narrative thing. We need to go to the grand narrative as Team Red Path. We need to get every fucking Red Path viewer on right now. Everyone, your kids don't need birthday presents. You don't need to eat. Save up the money for a narrative. We all go. We get tickets. And we find all the GW employees and rules writers and stuff, and we perma-kill their models. Like, we just stamp on them. Just literally incite a riot in a grand narrative tournament. Fuck them.
See what happens.
Yeah,
I'm going to be straight up. I think they actually made a mistake.
See, that's what the chat's saying. I think
it's actually
Red Rum
an
mentioned
error.
it. Yeah.
I think this is genuinely just like an admin error, which will be corrected. But it's like, as long as I think that this is funny.
How do you That's like taking my dog out to the yard and like just.
Yeah, it's Scarbrand.
I meant to kill the cat instead.
Khorne just drags up Scarbrand, and he's like, "I'll give you advance and charge, baby, but there's one thing you've got to do," and he just hands him a double barrel.
You ever seen the movie Dog Soldiers?
No, I haven't seen it.
Of course, you haven't fucking seen them. It's a great werewolf movie from early 2000s. Recommend it to everyone. Great. But the intro, and this won't spoil it, is like he's SAS tryouts or something like that, and to prove he's hard enough, he has to kill his dog. And he doesn't do it. That doesn't spoil anything. But that sets the theme, obviously, for a werewolf movie. But yeah, it's like It's
super weird.
Yeah, that's just completely unnecessary.
So yeah, look, it happened. Legend sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, the other thing, I guess, that's worth talking about on Demons before we kind of move on is, obviously, they got a new detachment, which is like their ally CSM detachment, which is cool. It's super cool. There's a ton of rules.
I read over that. I liked it.
Yeah,
I
there's
like
so
it a
many rules.
lot.
We're not going to go through it in
No.
depth because there's a lot of rules, but it's like six detachment rules stapled into one. And the Chaos Space Marines gain Deep Strike, and
Hmm.
Be'lakor gets Dark Pacts, which never fail. And Be'lakor got such a buff. He got loads more wounds. He got better abilities. He got a better armor save. He is absolutely gassed off his ass now, except I think he did go up 50 points, but fair enough. He's basically a greater demon now. His detachment is super cool. Awesome to see an allied detachment done like really well. And
Yeah.
what I would say is like so far all the supplemental demon detachments have been done really well. Really cool lore and really cool narrative about them. The problem is, as per GW's article today, that's all you're going to be getting. There is no demon codex. They didn't say it outright,
Yeah.
but it doesn't look
That's the
like it's going to
impression
be
I
happening.
got.
That's the
Yeah.
impression. Yeah.
Well,
So
hold
look,
on. Let me touch on that a bit. So,
sure.
not a demons player. I have, probably a couple thousand points of Khorne demons. And I don't want to see any army, no, like legended or it kind of soft deleted or however we want to put it. Except guard. I mean, guards should be legends. We all know
I
that.
think we can argue Tau as well.
Tau, yeah. I think we're going to be saying that shortly, quite frankly. But yeah, I don't want to see anyone soft deleted, however we define it. But let's see how it goes. Give them the rest of the edition. There's a chance. There's a chance they do it right. I think it does absolutely fucking suck. If you're just a demons player and you've got like 5,000 of each god, you did just get dicked. You just got screwed over. Or potentially you're getting screwed over, I should say.
Yeah, I think like in a reality where the way it is right now was to like persist, and go through 11th edition, that would be fine. Like the detachments are all absolutely cool. There's two multi-god ones and one for each god. And technically if you pick up some CSM, you can just like, glue stuff together.
Yeah.
And obviously them being weirdly integrated into the cult legions is, its own thing. I just think the problem for me is like that you don't have that certainty because GW
No,
just won't
they
say
won't
what's
tell
going to
you.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you don't know. Oh, it feels really good right now for demon players. The stuff is really cool and that's awesome. But you don't know if you've only got like a year left with your
Right.
army. And that's
Exactly.
like, if I was in that position, I would be like, not that I don't care about having cool, cool rules right now, but like it's like the Damocles sword hanging over you, right? You're like, I don't know how
Yeah.
long. Like, am I like on death row getting my last really good meal? I don't know. And
Right.
maybe it's not that at all. Maybe we've just got it completely wrong. But the problem is that there is no disclosure about what their plan is, and that is really like just frustrating. But what I would say, this thought came into my head today, right? And this is like potentially this is the most foil thing I've ever thought of, right? What if instead of demons being like legends, right? What if they're using demons? This is like the ultimate good story if it's true. What if they're using demons as a way of playtesting how they're going to roll out indexes in the
Digital.
next edition? That because what if they were like, we should start with one of the most complicated ones, one where you can ally into multiple different factions, and if that works out well and people don't mind it, we'll do it for the other ones. So what if that it's all just a big like, we're going to see how this goes, and if it goes well, it'll be like that? Because demons effectively just got a free codex for 10th edition. They have 6 detachments, complete data sheets. Like, they have a codex right now, by all manner
Yeah.
of rules. They have a
Yes, they
codex.
have a codex. And I mean, they
So,
did make a sentence. They said something about they will be updated, points will be updated. They're not. If that. God, the problem with conspiracy theories, right, is 99.9% of them are just wrong. And the few that have, like, actually are clinging on to a grain of salt are some of the bad ones, right? It's the stuff like the government really is listening to you or something like that. So we're at astronomical odds that conspiracy theory is true and it's a good thing. But if it is, that would be good. Broadly speaking, we're looking at free codexes for every army, digital rules allowing quicker updates, through the app and everything.
mhm.
But my God, that's some hopium, man.
I know it occurred, it drifted into my
Yeah.
brain today where I was kind of like, but what if? Like, is there a possible good thing for this? Because they wouldn't want to say if that's what it was, they wouldn't want to say that they're playtesting a digital rollout
Oh yeah, yeah,
because that would harm their sales right now.
yeah,
But I don't know. Look, if I was a Demons player, I would try and enjoy what I've got right now because I don't know how long it's sticking around.
I don't know how you can enjoy it when they just fucking killed your dog, but you know.
Look, we can only hope it was a mistake.
Yeah.
If it's not, it's genuinely one of the funniest legend thing I've ever seen. But look, really cool detachment on the plus side. The Shadow Legion, whatever it's called, awesome. Paint those boys up as Sons of Malice if you're doing any of those Marines in, and it'll look sick. So that's Demons. That's
What do
Demons.
we
a
want to talk
controversial
about
one.
next?
So I guess we can talk about the new detachments, of which there are three. And this was an interesting development. If you read the article, they said in every quarterly balance slate now they're going to do another three detachments for an army which already has a codex, which will be most of them by the time the next slate rolls around. So
Yeah.
whatever. So they said for the rest of the edition, yeah, everyone's going to get new detachment at some point, which is cool. It keeps things fresh. So Orcs, Custodes, and Tau all got detachments today. I would say of those three armies, they make up the top three of my least favorite factions in the game. So good to see.
Yeah, yeah, love it.
Um,
Who do you want to start with so I can?
okay, all right. I'm gonna start with Tau. Tau is so
Kismet, man.
fucking toxic. All right, I'm gonna read you because this. When I read the detachment, I was just like, oh my god. So I'm gonna read you the first paragraph from Goonhammer's focus on this detachment because I think it's the perfect analysis. So
Okay.
detachment overview. On some levels, you have to hate this. It takes a Redditor's understanding of the faction that they haven't interrogated since 7th edition and makes it real again. It's going to resurrect every bad fate argument about Tau and make people absolutely furious when they run into a buzzsaw. And that I think is a very, very good analysis of what this detachment is because it's like their Borkan detachment, which if anyone remembers from 9th was the one where it was just like, here's my mortal wound railgun.
Oh,
It's like there's no sort of like class or interest about this detachment. It is purely overpowered gun shoot you way harder than I should, and that's it. It's a ridiculously efficient detachment for shooting. I think at one point in the Goonhammer article, they described it as like it's very good for a player who wants to interact with one specific section of the game and then spend the rest of the game on their phone because they don't need to care about anything else. And I think that's pretty accurate. All the enhancements are like put this on good gun, make good gun better. A lot of the stratagems are make shooting more efficient. And yeah, super boring. Absolutely hate it. 0 out of 8 for me, and can't wait to see it on every Tau army that I come across. It's going to be real fun.
oh, that just killed my buzz completely.
It's okay. We just have to talk about the town or the Custodes and the Orcs next. The Orcs one is like fucking gas as well. It's another shooting detachment. Do you remember Luda Death Star in 8th edition, Jamie? They basically rewrote it.
Yes, kind of, sort of. Okay, let me have a look here. So, during your detachment rule, ranged weapons equipped by infantry and walker models. So that's their Gorkanauts and stuff.
Gorkanauts, Stompas, Death Dreads, Killicans.
Yeah, basically all their dreadnoughts and. Okay. Oh, sustain 2. Shooting phase, sustain 2. Okay, so the rumour was right about that, kind of. And while the War is active, they gain assault. Okay. Right. So far, that's good. It's thematic. It's good rule synergy. I'm assuming I'm about to get wrecked, basically. So, ranged weapons equipped by the bearer of death wounds and hazardous. Okay, ranged weapons have rapid fire 1. It's going to be the stratagems, isn't it? With
Ranged
orcs?
weapons having rapid fire 1 is pretty baller when you have it on a squad full of rocket launchers.
It's only the model though. That's an enhancement.
Oh, is that only the model?
Yeah,
I thought
I'm
it was
just
the model's unit.
It says orcs model only. Each time a model in the bearer's unit makes a range.
I thought so, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just, make orcs, what, weapon skill 4,
It's like the classic,
ballistic
like,
skill 4.
oh, we'll make it look like orcs shoot bad because they hit on fives, but we'll give them a load of built-in rerolls and sustain two on literally everything.
Yeah.
Um, so like, yeah, look, the detachment is basically they have a combat detachment in or combat stratagem in there called Orcs is still Orcs, which I think is funny. I think it gives them reroll wounds in combat, and the stratagem names are pretty funny. I think Long Uncontrolled Burst is probably my favorite one. Um, but yeah, this is pretty rough, I would say. I think I see Red Room saying this is a really bad matchup if you are playing the RB2K. I think alongside with the new Borkan detachment for Tau, both of these are real bad for RB2K and real good for the Brosy 2K because that list is just good into shooting armies. But yeah, look, it's a very, very powerful detachment. Um, we'll probably see because like Tactical Brigade for Orcs got nerfed pretty bad. It's one of the main things in Balance Slate. And this is arguably better than Tactical Brigade, so all the people who are playing Tactical Brigade will now just like move on to this. We'll probably have like 30 Ludas, 30 Tank Bustas. There's definitely gonna be a drag down of this detachment's win rate because some people will bring a Stampa in it, because it empowers the use of a Stampa, and that's cool in a way. I think one of the Patreon questions that we're getting to at the end is what are you most scared about in this list? What I'm most scared about is a Stompat towing into a rune in the middle of the board and getting sustained 2 and for 1 CP and extra strength and AP on all of its guns and deleting most of my army in one shooting phase.
Yeah.
That's what I'm scared about. But yeah, look, it's great detachment. I don't know if orcs need to be one of the most efficient shooting armies in the game, but here we are again, 3 editions in a row.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Whatever. Orcs, yeah. I just, whatever. I just don't care, Dara. I don't care.
I know. I don't care.
What I'm going to care about less is the fucking Custodes. Absolutely.
This is probably one of the most boring ones in like.
Oh, good. Because Custodes are boring, and where I want guards, the Imperial Guard, Astra Militar, put into Legends, I just want Custodes deleted, stricken from the record, make them the 21st Primarch, like just
get them gone.
Gone. Out.
Yeah. This one is an amusing detachment because it's kind of like a semi-character focused one, which is funny because they already had a character focused one.
Yeah, I was going to say
that which was really bad, really, really bad. And this is sort of like a weird, like, are we trying to say sorry in a sideways way? It's a good detachment. They have a Berserker Glaive, which is way better than the Berserker Glaive and way cheaper. That's standard for a combat army. There's good stratagems in here. They're mostly combat focused. The detachment is weird. It's actually kind of hard to sort of get it working because you have to stay away from other Custodes units.
Yeah, I've just seen that.
Gives you +1 to hit, which is a bit redundant when you hit on 2s mostly. Gives you +1 to wound, which is certainly not redundant.
Oh yeah, that's fucking stupid.
They have a 1 CP, I think it's 1 CP strat to let like Trajan Valoris do his moment shackle twice per game, let the Blade Champion do his advance and charge twice per game. That's good. They've got like fallback and charge. They've got
I do see Unleash the Lions, which was always one of my favourite. I don't know if it's ever good, but it was one of the few stratagems that's been out there that's like, oh, we're not just adding 1 to strength or re-rolling wounds. It's like, do something interesting with a unit, like how I think Space Wolves used to have something similar where the sergeant would be made a character.
If the sergeant was like the only person who survived, he became a character.
And that's what I mean. I know that's more narrative sort of stuff, like it's fluffy, and certainly 10th edition has pushed away from that. But just seeing that little thing drop in, I like those kind of stratagems. They're fun. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
It's a strong stratagem, but it's cool, and it's completely unique to Custodes, which I actually really like as well for all the same reasons you said. The other strats are good too. There's some efficiency ones in there. There's a Fight on Death, which is obviously very good. Yeah, it's a good detachment. Again, their Dreadnought Grotmist detachment got absolutely hammered into the ground with points increases. So probably a lot of people pivot here next because it seems like a very good detachment. And yeah, I feel like it's almost like generic enough that this could become like the Custodes detachment for a while. Whereas I think the Borkan and DACA detachments are a bit more like specialized into kind of like, we want you doing a specific thing. Um, it's fine. I mean, look, new detachments are always cool, varies up what you get to play against, and keeps things fresh for people. And I'm actually a lot more. I'm not really excited about these detachments. I'm excited about ones coming in the future.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
So that was the new detachments.
Okay.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah. What do we move on to next?
So we can touch on the biggest nerfs and the biggest buffs and all those kind of things.
Okay.
And I think it's again we're not going to go crazy deep into these because there's a lot going around. Not really a lot of things got, I would say, buffed apart from sisters getting a couple of their abilities back, but all the top heavyweights in the meta, so your Bridgehead, your Eldar, and your tactical brigade, your Custodes, dreadnoughts, all of these things got nerfed in various ways, be it points, be it rules changes. So Slanesh, as we talked about, got a massive amount of changes. Their entire detachment rule changed, a lot of their stratagems changed, all of it for the worse. That detachment is probably like sort of dead in the water now, especially losing all their chariots. Brian gave us a summary, which we can talk about because he's a bit more clued in.
Yeah,
you want to go through that with us?
So yeah, Brian, again, he's no longer part of the Red Path. We fired him, but this is what he said as he was trying to prep us, to make us look smart. Okay, so Demons got completely reworked. Slanesh Demons got shit canned. Karanak gone. Okay, yeah, we knew that, Brian. God, Fleshhound self buffed. Daka detachment is fucking fire. And we will see Orc players hop to it from tactical, which, makes sense. Dreadstades is unplayable. Can't fit the whole Dread, because you can't fit all the Dreads and the Wardens in anymore, so it's just like awkward points, I'm guessing. Bridgehead, dead, basically. Angron doesn't have to be afraid to go outside anymore, because it's not +1 to wound, right? It's
It's just +1 to hit, and I think they got a couple of they got some point increases. The Grenadiers, I think, changed how they work, and they got I think one of their strats went to 2 CP as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I think Bridgehead took some significant hits, but
they're
it's still
just going to
probably pretty good.
Probably good, but they're just going to go to mechanized.
Yeah, I think David Gaylord was already on mechanized for Manchester, which like obviously it's still very good, but it's not like as. I don't think the mechanics are as toxic as Bridgehead were. So I think
Bridgehead was just fucking.
Bridgehead was really unfun. Yeah.
So yeah, Bridgehead got bonked and went to plus hit. Eldar mostly unchanged, and Bloodless Angels is gone.
Oh yeah, I forgot about they changed it so that like if you're playing the weird like new oath rules, they're like, no, stop doing that.
Yeah. You basically have to be Codex. You're going to be Ultramarines. Ultramarines basically didn't change.
I think Uriel got his rule changed.
Okay, but it's like not a fundamental change to the army mechanics.
Not a huge thing.
You have to be Space Marine Codex to get +1. Ultramarines didn't get shit canned. Is anyone involved with writing rules? Like maybe the head of the rules writing for balance, playing Ultramarines.
No, I wouldn't say so.
They certainly haven't played like Necrons in the past or anything like that.
It doesn't sound familiar.
No idea who that could be.
Ultramarines still good. Basically.
Then Brian closes it off in all caps. Fight me tonight, Jamie. So I guess I'm fighting Brian tonight.
You're booked in. Booked in. I think of all of the nerfs, like probably tactical, Dreadhost, and Bridgehead took the biggest hits. Eldar, I know Brian said they kind of dodged nerf. I don't really think so. Like Azerman's anti everything thing went to 5s instead of 4s, which does hurt him. They got some point increases, which does hurt them as well, because they were an expensive army. Like, I think they probably lose a unit now, which is not great. Ynnari did get away with it, though. But, like, ultimately, at the end of the day, we have, like, I think a month of Eldar data in the pipe. It's not enough to actually make a change. I know some of us feel strongly about Eldar being one way or the other. there really just isn't enough data to suggest that they need to be nerfed. And even the data that is there right now isn't really saying, oh, Eldar are actually a problem. Um, I don't think they're really a problem for world leaders for dealing with, especially in VOW. You're like, oh, you've got loads of 5-man squads running around. Oh, it'd be a shame if you shot me. Ooh. Like I think it's broadly fine. It's kind of hard to say how the meta's going to shake out. I think the Daka detachment is very, very, very good.
Well, to me, it's feeling like, between Brian's cliff notes, the things you've been saying, and like the sort of very rudimentary 5th grader understanding I have of this game. The Simpsons meme of Mo throwing Barney out of the bar and then he's right behind him. Is that what's happening here? We're just, here's us. We're like, oh, we can see a little bit of light, as we get our extra 30 points to our lists or whatever, which ultimately just mean we change lists. You're not getting a unit for free here. And, the people we've been sort of like headbutting for the last 3 months, they're just like, oh yeah, we're on a break, fuck off. Like,
it makes our Custodes game a lot easier because we did not have a good time into all those Dreadnoughts.
No, the Dreadnought game was awful. I played it a couple times and I was like,
it was very hard. We just don't have the right numbers into those units. But now they're going to move completely away from Dreadnoughts and go back to the Custodes that we know, which are quite beatable.
Well,
they're beatable if you're me.
No, we have the numbers. They just have the 4-up simulator, so it's. But
I think that game gets easier. I think Eldar gets a touch easier. Okay. Eldar gets a touch easier because the way that VOW gains and Eldar loses. You know what's such a beautiful unit for killing 5-man aspect warriors? It's the Juggernaut Lord at 80 points, baby. Oh, perfect. I love it. So that's great. Guard, we'll have to see how it shakes out. It's probably going to be mech transport, which is okay for us. I think we can just bomb rush them.
Their
leadership is bad.
Yeah, a VOW list definitely.
Yeah.
Don't stand on objectives. Or don't be visible on objectives, or don't be targetable whilst on an objective. And you can kind of, bring back your sort of like early 10th edition World Eater skills of absolutely going fucking mental turn 1.
Yep.
Shoving them in their things, like, stringing out your Exalted or whatever, keeping them pinned in. So, okay, like, you can't get an angle, I'm going to get primary for a few turns, then I don't care when I'm all dead because I'm already 30 points over you. Yeah, have fun doing shit now. Like that. In my head,
I think it's
how I
interesting
game,
because we're going to see a big split here in World Eaters, I think. Okay. Because VOW players and Berserker Warband players are going to have completely different experiences against the top meta armies. Because VOW will have a great time against Daka Daka, against Borkan, against Mech Transport. Whereas Orbi2K, for example, is going to have a tougher time into some of those matchups. So I think we're going to see a community split. I'd say we're probably going to see VOW. I mean, they're already pretty neck and neck in terms of win rate. I think we might see VOW really kind of creep up to equal or maybe even pass. The rest of it, I think there's not a bunch of other factions that are going to fundamentally move from where they are in the meta. I think the meta being changed in the way that it is going to be changed does suit us, though. And I think we've gotten some great changes for VOW, which plays into the top of the meta particularly well.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I think it's pretty good. And obviously we've got our codex in probably a month and a half. Yeah, there's not that much time to grind this out, but if you've got an event in the next month and a half, have a look at a variant of the Brosy. Pop into our Patreon if you want to literally just interrogate Josie. She's in there, as well as a load of other good people. But yeah, I think it's interesting. It's definitely, the game is going to shape up into a very interesting way. And now we have to consider that every 3 months, we're going to have to be dealing with a brand new 3 detachments. Yeah. Which is going to be wild.
All right, shall we move on to our Patreon questions?
let's do it.
Do you have them, or did you say they were pinned, right?
I will pop them up right here and we can go through them. So anyone still watching can definitely leave us a comment or a question in chat and we'll get to them if we can. But we'll start with our Patreon. So, okie dokie. So, Sammy2Pews is first up here and they say, what do you do with 15 or 20 points when you're otherwise happy with a build and don't have flex for an enhancement? What do you do, Jamie?
I don't have the kind of need to make it perfectly 2000 anymore. 8th edition, 9th edition, absolutely. I'd really try and squeeze out the efficiency, throw a plasma pistol on or whatever. With the way 10th is, with fucking everything's free, kind of, sort of. I don't want to be around 1960. Like anywhere.
Okay, what's your bottom? You know, where you're like, I need to do something with this. Is it like 1970?
Well, hold on. No, let me do some math quick. 1940.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty low.
But the thing is, like, not that I've run a list like that. That literally 1940 is the lowest we can legally take a list, like, because with Jackals at 65, right? So that's like, if I build a list and in something like that's going to be, like double Lord of Skulls or something, right? It's going to be a fucking tall ass list. If I get there and I think, you know what, this is doing everything I want, it's what the models I have available, etc., etc., I don't care anymore. But there again, I don't win GTs. I think a more competitive mindset, I think really more like 1970, you're not giving away too much. I would have, look, the 1975, Anthony Vanilla's list or whatever, from early 10th edition. It was 1975 and it was a good list. The versions of it now, still an absolutely solid list. There's nothing wrong with that. I think, 1970-ish, I think for me, if I was really going to hem in on being competitive, would be my limit. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's probably about the same. Like, if your list functions as you want it to do, if it ticks all the boxes, like you were saying, or like that as the question said, then like that's fine. What I usually do, like if I'm at that point, I'll just like basically go through all the units in the list and say, if this unit had, we'll say in this case, if you've got 20 points left over, right? If this unit had 20 points more, what other units could it be? And like if you can't really pull anything interesting out of there, say like if I merge two units and add the 20 points, what could that be? So say like if I put Jackals and Spawn together, that's 135 points, and if I add my 20 points, it's 155. Okay, so it could be 3 Exalted Ape Band. Is that better? But then you have to consider you're going from 2 units down to 1 to gain certain stuff, to lose certain stuff. So like, if you're happy with like the overall archetype of the list, don't mess with it too much. But it's worth, in my opinion, having a pass and saying, okay, if I put this many points on X, what does it become? And if it's something worthwhile, that doesn't fundamentally change the list. The most common one for me is like, I've got like 25 points left over in my list. Okay, one of my Jackals can become 5 Khorne Berserkers. That's like super common, So that's that. Thank you very much for the question.
So
next up is Pissed Al Gaib, which is one of my favorite names in our Patreon Discord. The question is, if Brian was a type of Khorne, what type of Khorne would he be and why? Brian's not here to answer, so we can answer for him.
So did you know Khorne is one of the foodstuffs that doesn't get fully digested? You would know this being a student of poo, wouldn't you?
Yes, I've worked with Khorne many times.
That's the type of Khorne Brian is.
The poo Khorne.
You sort of like, because he's also quite small, like I can easily just pick him up, like bite his head off or whatever, and then he just disagrees with my digestive tract and everything, and just there he is.
That was a very quick fire answer to a question that I didn't really have a good answer for, so fair enough. So Warboss asks, what's the biggest fear from the Orc detachment? I already gave my answer. It's the stomp it towing into the ruin with all the buffs on.
For me, it's every time I play Orcs, and it doesn't matter. it doesn't matter what army I play. You can say, hey, this unit right here is devastating. It hits on 2s at strength 1,000,000, 100 dev wounds, and then I get to punch you in the face. I don't listen. I don't care about your rules. I just all the time. So the last time I played Orcs Tactical Brigade, he's like, yeah, here's my looter squad or whatever the fuck they are, flash kits or something. And he's like, yeah, they're really good. They reroll hits and stuff. And in my head, I'm like, they're Orcs. Fuck it. So I just, move 10 Berserkers with Mo out. It's like, I'm going to Overwatch her. Okay, go for it. And where did they go? So for that, I've already forgotten what the question was. Sunk about Orcs.
What are you
Orcs
scared about?
Yeah, I'm scared about myself not caring about Orcs.
You know what's actually a good point, which I guarantee you a lot of Orc players are going to misplay? Their sustain 2 only works in their own shooting phase.
Yeah.
So it does not work for Overwatch, and it doesn't work for their shoot back
Which
strategy.
is critical for me because I will remember that as I walk up to the table and then forget it when it happens.
I'm going to use it as a reason to hit an Orc player over the head with a baseball bat.
Excellent.
So that's my thoughts. Okie dokie, let's move on. So going up next, it's from Big Juicy Naturals. With the drop to both princes, does this push non-ground lists to more viability and by extension VOW lists?
Yep, absolutely.
So I think we kind of touched on it, that it absolutely does. Like, it seems with every slate, Ron drops a little bit in attractiveness and non-ground moves up in attractiveness. And now we've got Vessels, which is like the non-ground detachment, and Vessels just got a direct buff. And into the meta that we're currently going into, looks like it'll be well positioned. I would say, as I say with every update, there has never been a better time currently to be than right now than to be playing non-ground.
It's like GW have chosen in the we've got Jack and Brian and Ryan, but ultimately in the Jamie versus in the Jamie versus Dara war that has been raging ever since pretty much the Red Path started. GW is favouring Dara.
Hey man, that's bullshit, right? Because it was literally you who put me on non-ground in like your house after the LGT, being like, bro, you know what? We haven't tried running lists without non-ground.
And then I was like, oh, it's gonna be so good. Like, imagine 2 princes swooping down, and then I never did it.
But you could do it now, and it's cheaper than ever.
I have done it since. I just didn't do it then.
But yeah, to answer your question, I mean, I think we both think they're very like non-grants living a great life right now in VOW. I probably would very very rarely consider non-grant in Berserker Warband.
Yeah, it's a hard sell there.
It is.
Yeah, Berserker Warband. I think unless you're just trying to play on super hard mode. New game plus.
I think if you really love the footprints with half damage, it's a good reason to do it because that is gas.
Is Red Rum's question next on your list about?
I have yes, it is.
It's not in a good place after the slate. The New Orc detachment seems pretty good place after the slate. The New Orc detachment seems pretty bad, making the already bad Orc matchup even worse. What do we think about the state of RB2K? Again, we have kind of literally just talked about it in a way.
I think
fine. I mean, it's good. Let me say, RB2K is still very good and probably the optimal core of a Berserker Warband list. There's always a little bit of room for tweaking in anything. But basically, as Dara's just kind of described, I think competitively now, if you're trying to win a large event or podium, VOW is probably the way to run Worldy is your local meta dependent.
I think that's purely because what the very, very top of the meta is that VOW has more play into those.
And if you're good as a World Eaters player, if you're a good combat, charge phase, fight phase player, you can probably leverage your skills to use VOW over other combat armies or sort of take all comers armies and get the edge. If you're playing against... The problem for VOW is going to be RB2K. That's going to be the list that absolutely ruins your day. So...
If you run Dabrosi, you will have 18 Exalted 8-bound on 4 up invulnerable saves, and you can just flip the bird at the RB2K, because they do not have 18 Exalted 8-bound and 4 up invulnerable saves.
That is true. But
I say, what will you do?
I think that'd be a good matchup to...
I really want to... Me and Josie were talking about it in the Patreon chat like a week... earlier this week even, I think. We were just saying, like, 2 equal skill players. Would there be a more interesting match to watch? than Orby 2K versus Brosy 2K.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that'd be so
That's-
interesting.
And that's it's really interesting. Yeah, I think we should look into that.
But yeah.
Okay, then we got a question from Ronan, based on the Demon tier list video from earlier. With the new information we have from the EC Codex of how demons have been handled, and GW saying this data slate is sort of priming demons for inclusion in Cult Legions books, have any of your thoughts changed with demons? Is there anything you personally are starting to build paint? And how sad are you about the confusing state of Karanak? So
We talked earlier in the backroom chat today. Brian was saying there has never been a Red Path video that has so quickly aged like milk than the one him and Ryan did about predicting demons. Because all of it's like complete bullshit now. It just doesn't hold up anymore. Yeah, look, they're in a tough old spot. I think, I mean, I wasn't like massively interested in Khorne demons being introduced into the army anyway. I became a lot less so after seeing how it's done with EC, which I think is a bad integration. Um, yeah, look, I mean, I think that if the detachment is good, Fleshhounds will be really good in the detachment.
yeah,
That's kind of how I feel about
it
it.
does open access to Uppy Downy for us. I will say this: if you are basically only a World Eaters player, it's not going to hurt you to invest some time and money slowly in Khorne demons as allies. They may be junk in our codex, but if that is the way going forward, they'll be good eventually. They'll every now and again one of those units is going to you've got to run 10 bloodletters, you've got to run fleshhounds, a bloodthirst or whatever. It happens, everything cycles through. Don't go crazy spending money though, and if you play more than one army, I wouldn't bother. You're going to get enough value from the rest of the book without needing demons, almost certainly.
I would say, like, given all the very confusing and hard to predict changes around demons right now, don't buy anything until you actually see the World Leader Codex. Don't do any prep.
Just
Just
money.
wait.
Spend all your money.
Spend it on our Patreon, baby.
pay your
Give me the
mortgage.
money. Let me make irresponsible decisions. Yeah. So I don't know.
Probably
I just
the
think it's
sensible
like
one.
it's a super lame kind of situation. Yeah. I think Brian is still a little bit excited about team and integration, but less so from my end, I would
It's
say.
a known unknown. So
Yes.
yeah.
Right. What's up next?
What is your least favorite change from this data slate?
The Predators. It's gotta be, right? It's gotta be the
I was
Predators.
going to say I just set fire to mine
Yeah.
before this video. It's like Darth Vader on the pyre.
I think my actual least favorite change is, it's gotta be the demon stuff, really, It's just like, and it's not even that they didn't get anything good or they got overly nerfed. It's just the confusion that we talked about earlier. Just the kind of feeling of dread that must be with a lot of demon players right now is what I like the least about it. Because I'm like, just tell them if they're gonna have a book and if they have a future in this game.
My least favourite thing was Brian stressing me out before the stream.
Look, that's agnostic from GW. Unfortunately, we only have our own poor decisions for hiring him to make. But here we are. Anyway,
Sassy Boss. Oh, yeah, that was pissed out, Gabe. Sassy Boss Sassing Art of War says, "What's the future of demons? Is it a Khorne demon army, Shadow Legion, or Eventual Codex?" We basically just answered it.
Yeah, I think we just went through that.
Games Lord on Juggernaut Yamez says, "When is Jamie going to wake up?" I was already awake when you asked that. I thought you would watch through the window, but you didn't. So,
Yep.
I'm disappointed. This is someone replying to it. Can you see who that is?
I can see the other one. So Widowmaker is the next one up.
Widowmaker, okay.
With the point changes, would you say Vessels takes the lead over Index? It seems like they've been neck and neck, and the point drop seems to exclusively favor Vessels. I wouldn't say it exclusively favors them, but it's definitely very good for Vessels. I think we've already kind of said, like, if you're in the sort of 3-2 bracket, neck and neck. If you're in the 4-1 bracket, pretty much neck and neck. If you want to win a GT, I would go with Vessels right now. And I think that's where it is right now. If you're aiming for any other results, you're probably going to have a completely fine time with either Index. But I would expect the stats to show us in about 2 or 3 months that Vessels is getting more 4-1s, getting more X and O's, and winning more events. is
Yep.
what I'm predicting.
I'm good with that.
Alrighty.
Red Rum says, why did they nerf the tanks? No one was taking them anyway, right?
We're all wondering.
We've done the conspiracy theory, dude. Like, who knows? Like, GW just does some random ass shit sometimes, man. Like,
Yeah.
right, no rhyme, no reason. Pissed out Gaib, if you were modelling a Juglord, how would you represent the Vox dab on the model? Dara, you're a hobby person. I'm not.
Yeah, it's a cool one. I guess like you probably want a really ornate helmet. Something with like a really kind of it like honestly the Emperor's Children Marine with a big speaker mouth would be a really good one. Or you can just go with some sort of really ornate like trophy taking kind of weapon because he is still going after things to claim skulls. Or you can because it's kind of like Vox Diabolus, like, you know, sort of being like this terror that draws power in from killing the enemy. You can go with some very illustrious back banner or trophy rack, which kind of soaks in power. I think you want a little bit of a, you know what, like what would be cool in my opinion is like the back mount that Zoofor used to have of the commissar, the skeleton commissar nailed onto a pole. That'd be cool.
I would.
Yeah, I think that's what I go for.
You could use the Moe's hand where he's holding the heads, put that on him, and then like just stick a guardsman's body underneath.
Yep, it would be really good.
There is an older model of like a guardsman. I have him like stuck to the front of one of my Land Raiders, where he's like a dead body, like, and it looked like he was hanging down. But anyway, all right.
There's lots you can do.
I just like corpses.
Me too, man.
Definitely not Trazen. I'm not convinced by your username. Definitely not Trazen. I think you are Trazen. Has asked, how has the secondary game been impacted by the cheaper units? Any role changes made?
So good. That Juggernaut, baby. Hello,
Yeah,
Area Denial.
Yeah, like, I was already using my Juggernaut occasionally. I was like, I'll position him so he can go.
You know, sometimes like you use
contain
Invo
turn
for those like ones where you're like, all right, Invo, I don't have the resources to get like Area Denial and like containment in
Sorry,
turn
man.
one.
You're
But
not-
I'm like, this guy is like 60 points cheaper than Invo. I'm like, see you, brother.
Yeah, off you go. You know, Arsenal.
It's really, really good.
Codex.
Yeah,
So-
I would say, like, obviously the Demon Prince getting cheaper. More people will start using him. More people will find out that Exalted 8-bound with -1 to wounds and a 4-up invulnerable save and a 5-up invuln are a great unit to do the long actions with because they basically won't die. They're like my go-to sabotage unit. So, yeah, I think the secondary game is easier. If you start to build into those MSU kill squads with the 5 Zerks and the Juglord, you've got another unit that can just do those mid-game actions without having to give up too much. So I think it's great. Our secondary game got a lot easier.
Looks like last question from Discord before we look at YouTube is Sir Beardle. With the cheaper Juglords and Princes, do you think there is still a place for War Dogs or just the 3x6 X-bound pressure with all the support they can get now? Well, I don't know. Just to quickly answer that list you told me, the Dobrosi, has both. Yeah, so I'm like, to me, that's sexy time.
I think Vessel still very much wants a little bit of gun support. You could like take those guys out, put in 2 Brigands, and I don't know exactly how much of it, or not, take out the Brigands, put in 2 8-bound units. That would save you, I think, like 50 points, which is a little bit of an awkward number. You can move some things around, find some use for it. Obviously, then you're supporting the 18 Exalted 8-bound by giving them moon rerolls, which is nice. You lose your gun platform, which is not nice. I think the Brigands are still a really good choice in VOW. Obviously, Berserker Warband's completely different, but I wouldn't take them out, to be honest.
All right. YouTube. Let's just scroll back a little bit. I see the words Taco Bell from Rin, so that's where I'm going to start. Okay, none of these are questions. You need to use question marks. Okay, Rin says Preds is the worst, not the demons. Lol. Preds are the worst, Rin. I'm going to correct your grammar there.
There's a super chat just in from Swordsman Smith. Is VOW 3x6 Exalted 8-bound viable? If so, how to build it? Swordsman Smith, I'm guessing you might have tuned in maybe a little bit later. I'll tell you exactly how to build it right now. Demon Prince, Naked Juggerlord, Arch Juggerlord, Invocatus, 2x10 jackals, 5 Khorne berserkers, 18 exalted ape bounds, 2 brigands. There's your list. Go have fun. Go enjoy having 6 disposable ape bounds to do what you want. That's the one.
All right, there we go. There's the answer. And I've now completely lost my place. Thanks, Dara. You've ruined everything.
I think the chat was just memeing us.
Probably, yeah.
I don't really see too many questions. So I guess we'll let people pop in questions they want now.
You
and
have
we can
11 seconds to type.
Yeah, you got a little bit of time while we start wrapping this one up.
It's now 6 seconds.
I guess, Jamie, how you feeling about Slate?
I'm surprised. I think is the
surprise is the operative.
Yeah, opened the stream here with we expected nothing and received something. So it's like waking up from a coma and it's Christmas Day. Well, I mean, it's nice.
I'm still alive. That's good.
Positive. Overall, it's a small win for World Eaters. Everything we've discussed, a slight direct buff, especially for Val. Overall, then the change to the wider meta, assuming it goes in the way we've discussed, seems to feel like that also favours Val. So I think the Val Vessels of Wrath ultimate winners here. I think if you've been maining them for a few months, you're going to be in a great position. You've just got an opportunity to build a new list, come up with something new. Berserker Warband players, we're kind of still treading water, sticking to the old faithful, bit of RB2K on the side, and just keep on having fun. Some games got harder, some got easier, but overall, like I said, this is more surprising than anything because I genuinely thought with a month or two out from the Codex and just unnecessary nerfs for the last year, or more or less, we was either going to get nothing or something stupid. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with any of that, to be honest. Pleasantly surprised. Obviously, I love my Vow, I love my Nangron, so it's a great day for me. All right, some questions have built up. All right, let's see. So, Chris wants to know, they came up with an update for the Brosy list, added 5 turns. Is it worth it? Is they worth to have them in Deep Strike in a Vow list? No, Terminators and Vow are really bad. They're probably like the worst unit. The worst like Berserker Warband to Vow transition is probably the Terminators. If you want to put something in Deep Strike, get 3 Exalted 8 Bound. That'll be better.
I'm going to be just a little bit obnoxious. I think if you're running Terminators in Vow, there's a way to do it. I don't think it's better than Exalted 8 Bound by any means, but you can do it. I just don't think running 5 Terminators is ever the answer. I think there's often a good discussion over throwing 10 Terminators in a list. Not saying it's better. I think there's a discussion.
Yeah.
5 Terminators, just for us specifically with the way their ability works, by the time you get any value out of that ability, they're useless. So yeah. I would look at 10, scratch the 5. In my opinion.
And if you've got points for 5 Terminators, I think that means you have points for a Foot Demon Prince now. So have a look. 2 Foot Demon Princes and Brosy sounds fun. So, how do you feel about allying in Khorne dogs? Nick says carnivores are still great, if that's what you mean, or do you mean probably Khorne demon dogs?
Yeah, flesh hounds.
So it's expensive currently because you got to pay the bloodletter tax. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. It's still I feel like I personally would not be confident in saying that it's bad. You know, I'm like, that's an interesting ability to have in our army in the current allying mechanism.
It's too many points for that ability, though.
I don't know. Like those bloodletters are movement 8 now and could kill guys when they fall back from them. Like,
yeah, but bloodletters, you've got to deep strike them. I think they're too.
I'm not sure, man. I'm not willing to say that it's bad. Really, I think if it seems interesting to you, experiment.
Yes, I don't think it's bad. I just. In my heart,
but don't
like
buy them. Much. Don't go out and buy them because like you're only going to have this for like a month.
Yeah, TTS that shit, or use them if you've got.
Rin wants to know what matchup are you most looking forward to playing against, not winning wise but fun wise. For me, it's got to be Shadow Legion. I want to see Be'lakor do some weird shit on the board, but an army that I don't fully understand but seems really cool. Like that's just going to be fun.
Rin, I don't play 40k for fun. I play 40k to get angry.
Yep.
just perpetually more disappointed and angry at life until my head eventually explodes in frustration. Matchup wise, I don't know. Actually, weirdly, I want to bring a Val list to a random on TTS and have them bring RB2K, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I watched the Red Path and yeah, they're the experts and they told me to use this, so I can use it." And I'm just gonna like.
All right,
okay.
our loving audience.
Yeah.
You heard Jamie mimic you. Now go beat the shit out of him on TTS.
It's not hard to do. Dara.
I think that game would be so good. Like,
yeah, I think so.
As long as you can get someone who's like guaranteed equal skill as you, fuck me, that game would rock. Anyway, Mike Kniferson, when will the Helldrake be good for World Leaders? When we get the same changes as the Emperor's Children one, and they both drop 50 points. I don't think there needs to be any more said about that.
That's that. What unit do you want buffed the most? All right, Dara, you get the first answer.
In our index, what unit do I want buffed the most? Arguably Terminators, I think. They're just so cool, but they're so shit.
Yeah. Hellbrute.
Yeah, fair.
Hellbrute. I know it's not. I think Hellbrute probably get Legend or just ignored.
He's so cool, though. But, yeah.
But what are you thinking for the Brosy list changes with new points? Kind of already gone over that a few times, right? The double brigands, like
hop into the Discord if you want to catch more of it, because we're all talking about it right now.
Sabine, I hate dropping Khorne, but I bought it mostly for the -1 half damage stuff. But feels like there will be less of that out there. Yeah. Khorne, I think Khorne had a little moment with Val. I think it's still absolutely good. Yeah, I think you definitely can. I just think maybe as we push towards like a more optimized, he may or may not make it.
I'm gonna just like stop you right there and say
I'm gonna keep talking just to be annoyed. Like, here's my voice.
I missed you so much. I think so the variant I made of Brosy with the 80 and Exalted 8-bound, I'm not saying that that's better or more efficient than the previous game. Like, it's just different. I'm like, I want to play this. But like, the Khorne build is still really, really good. I would still run that in a heartbeat. I would find a way of putting those 35 points somewhere. Like, it's still really good. Khorne is not bad right now. There's maybe a little bit less -1 damage, sure. But like, he's still going to truck it. The Berserkers are still great. Don't stress about it. Don't go changing things if it feels good for you. Okie dokie. So,
just do a couple more questions because I will have to leave fairly soon.
Yeah, I think there's just one. When can we look forward to games with the new points being on the channel? We probably won't be doing bat reps. If you want to see like, I guess more of that, I think Brian does some TTS stuff in the Discord sometimes that you can hop in and watch. Obviously, if we get on stream, yeah, sure.
I don't know if anyone's got any major stuff lined up for the next.
I don't have anything that's going to be streamed.
No, I'm not sure about Brian and Ryan.
I can't remember. Yeah. Look, it's hard. Realistically, the bat reps ain't going to be happening, folks. It's something that we're not specializing in.
But let me take that. I will be. I was trying to time it with the balanced data slate. We're doing a TTS ladder, ELO League in the Red Path. I'll be getting that set up. I'll say this week, but I'm probably lying to you. I've got a lot of stuff I've told myself I was going to do this week.
We'll say this year.
This year, yeah. No, I do want to try and coincide it with the start of this season because we're going to run it as seasons. So if you play TTS or are interested in TTS and are not in our Discord for some reason, go ahead and join the Discord, the free part of the Discord. I'm not trying to make money out of this. And I think we've discussed, or I've at least discussed to myself in my head, the winner of each season, because it will be based on Dataslate seasons, will win a season premium membership to our super amazing Patreon thing. And if you're already in the Patreon, we'll just give you the next season for free. I've made
Which is a great
decision.
place to be.
Yes,
I like chatting to the homies.
Yeah,
it's gotten pretty big.
Yes, Warlord, those are the prizes for the top of the ladder. More details to come because I probably should actually think about this before talking about it.
Let's not drop too much on the good people. I think that's our slate discussion. Obviously, once I get more reps in with the new Dabrosy, and once Brian has some time to digest as well, we're gonna have focus videos and thoughts about it. We've obviously got the codex coming up in like a month and a half, which is going to be crazy. There's going to be a ton of content around that. We have the Goremonger skill team, which we still don't know the rules for. That could be really crazy too. It's like it's a flurry right now, man. There's like a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. Really, really hype.
We are entering that period of
we're in the eye of the storm.
Yes,
we're in the eye of the storm right now.
Shit is about to kick off because once leaks start and we start, oh god, of course this gas comes up as soon as I start talking.
You're just getting excited, man. Yeah. You're just getting excited.
We're going to start getting the Warcom previews, and we're going to be jumping on things. This is the part of being a 40k player that's always the most fun. It's the hype before the reveal.
It's like you don't whatever about like knowing the actual information is like the excitement. It's like literally like being a child at Christmas.
Yes,
you're like, it could be anything.
Are we going to get the Super Nintendo, or are we going to get something?
It's like it's like a riskier version of Christmas, because it's like I could get the Lego set that I really want, or Santa could come up to my room and suffocate me with the Lego set that I really want, because you just don't know with GW. Anything can happen.
It is true.
But yeah, look, it's like 2 weeks to Adepticon, right? It's maybe even less. I don't know. We're gonna have the World Leaders reveal there for sure.
Probably.
So yeah, look, it's hype, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed our discussion of the Dataslate. It's been pretty fun. Pretty fun to have like the OG. It's good vibes. You're so much more fun than Brian.
I was going to say, I'm glad Brian doesn't know how to tell the time, because before this we were just yelling at him in our chat. It's like, dude, like we told you yesterday it was 2 p.m. and he's like, I thought it was 6 p.m. It's like, no, that's Dara's time. We're in different countries. It's like he's just such an idiot.
Oh, look, but for real, we love Brian.
Yes, he's nice.
and Brian has been cooking absolutely heinousless all day today. So get on to him if you want some cool shit. But yeah, look, it's pretty fun. Lots going on, lots coming up on the channel. Hobby videos are back. Go support them if you want to see more. It's been nice to paint for everyone again.
You should support them, because I don't hobby.
Support them. Yeah, and if you want me to keep making them, please show them some love.
Yes.
Anyway, that's all for now. Like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, drop into the Discord where you can chat to all the homies. If you like what we do, you can choose to support us on Patreon. There are associated perks. And yeah, have a great rest of your evening, folks. Enjoy building some lists, and look forward to talking to you all in Discord. Jamie, you want to take us out? You want to hit me with it?
I will do it. I will do it, Dara, for the Red Path. Everyone, thanks for being here. It's been a great stream, Dara. It's great to be back. Great to chat to you again. So everyone, stay healthy, stay safe, and kill, maim, burn. We're not out yet. Now we're out. Now we're out. Got him.